And I'll just tell you, we had a psychologist come and he told us if we're not doing yoga for our clients who have experienced boundary violations, so sexual abuse, rape, we're doing them a disservice.
Wow.
Oh man, we were like, don't bring that other stuff, culture stuff in here. Don't bring that. I tell you. And what we found is that there's a connection between mind and body. We always knew it was there, but we thought that the mind unlocked the body. The body unlocks the mind. And so if you think about it, what does yoga do? It gives you control over your body. It gives you strength. It empowers you. And so what's been violated? Your body. And so yoga allows you the empowerment and the breath work and the peace of mind and the wellness combined with therapy is actually the best modality. Wow. So we'll never see a client with sexual abuse or rape and not recommend some form of yoga meditation. It goes together.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Fit with Fallon Podcast. I am your host, Fallon Mercedes Brock, and today I have a very special guest, Dr. Tartt, who is a psychologist who you've probably seen on morning talk shows, news like CNN, and he is even a consultant for the NBA. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you on. And tell us more about what made you get into psychology, because I'm very interested in to know your
So Fallon, first of all, I appreciate your energy. You know, anyone that works with people, we're big on energy. So I appreciate you having me on today. But I was one of those kids in high school that was always in other people's business unsolicited. So Fallon, if I heard you saying that you had some relationship issues, I was the one's gonna sit down at the table like, tell me more. What did he say? What did she say? What did he do? Who started it? So there was a career day that came, a psychologist came in. I didn't realize it was a profession. I had no exposure to it. I just thought it was a psychiatric ward or something like that. And so from high school, that was something I decided to do. And so I trained at Morehouse, University of Michigan, LA, DC, back to Atlanta. And I kind of put my foot in a little bit of everything because I like to help people. I like to help people. What most people don't know is that I see more children than I see adults because they have a phenomenal need for great care. So children, adults, couples, athletes, celebrities, you name it. I love the diversity. I love the diversity of what I do.
I love that you added in children. I've been in the health and wellness industry for over, 15 years now. And in the last 2 years, I started coaching kids. And it is so impactful. And I think it's so important, especially where kids are now having, an increase in diabetes and obesity and all these health issues. So I felt the importance of, really getting to kids young to hopefully help them as they grow older. But what I've realized as a coach that with children, with adults, your, emotional health, your mental health, your life experiences really impact your physical health. So tell me, from things that you've experienced, what is the correlation? And if you have a bad relationship or trauma in your life, how can you prevent that from affecting your physical health?
Well, Fallon, I'll tell you one of the areas that's very surprising for a lot of people. Since you mentioned trauma, so let's talk about you've been traumatized. Let's talk about maybe sexual abuse or rape. There are a lot of women who could get referred to psychologists via the primary care physician because when the doc is looking at their chart, they notice a significant period of weight gain that doesn't match the rest of their life. All right, so they're tracking and they're looking at like at 19, you gained 40 pounds, you gained 70 pounds. What was going on? And you'd be surprised how many times it's a traumatic event. And so we talk about coping a lot of times, especially, and it's unfortunate, and we have to do everything we can to change the narrative, is that victims sometimes are shamed or they're not believed, or they feel like if I report this, I have to be questioned, I have to be on trial. It still goes on today. And so a lot of women that just don't report it, or they feel it's dangerous to report, or in the cases of rape, they don't know who the perpetrator was. And so they emotionally eat to feel better. But one of the surprising things is that they emotionally eat to be less attractive.
Yeah. So I totally understand what you're saying. I was coaching one girl. She was a teenager and I noticed in her food log, she was eating more. And then she used to love running and she stopped running. And I said, what's going on? You know, you love to run and now you're eating not how you were, you know, did something happen? And she said that when she runs, because her body's changing, she'll get hit on, you know, guys will whistle or beep at her. And she now is covering up more and wants to gain weight. So that way she doesn't seem so sexually attractive.
It is absolutely mind blowing. When we think about control, right? We want to control our bodies. We want to be able to control it. And so if I can control, if I have some level of control, if I can control the amount of sexual attention that's coming my way, and that sexual attention before was positive or maybe even neutral, but when it's paired with trauma and pain, you no longer want it. It's a defense, but it leads to, you know, other health issues. And you start talking about diabetes, and you start talking about heart disease, and you start talking about lower self-esteem, you know. And so people have to get treatment for trauma because it relates to the body. But here's another interesting piece. And I'll just tell you, we had a psychologist come and he told us if we're not doing yoga for our clients who have experienced boundary violations, so sexual abuse, rape, we're doing them a disservice.
Wow.
Oh man, we were like, don't bring that other stuff, culture stuff in here. Don't bring that. I tell you. And what we found is that there's a connection between mind and body. We always knew it was there, but we thought that the mind unlocked the body. The body unlocks the mind. And so if you think about it, what does yoga do? It gives you control over your body. It gives you strength. It empowers you. And so what's been violated? Your body. And so yoga allows you the empowerment and the breath work and the peace of mind and the wellness combined with therapy is actually the best modality.
Wow.
So we'll never see a client with sexual abuse or rape and not recommend some form of yoga meditation. It goes together.
Oh, I love that. I never, you know, I would sometimes refer people to Reiki healing or acupuncture, but I never thought of yoga. That is fascinating. And I love that you were taught that, because I find so many times most medical professions, they leave that aspect out of it, the emotional, the mental, or even exercise component to it. But I do know how beneficial exercise in general is
For sure.
Yeah,
for everyone. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I got excited. You know, it produces endorphins. So you know the science. You know the science because of what you do. So when we look at it, we're talking about a pain relief, and we're talking about something that you want to do, especially for clients that are timid about medication, or their symptoms do not warrant medication, or they are anti traditional medication. Exercise, produce those endorphins naturally. You want to feel good, you better get on that cardio machine, you better get on that rowing machine, you know, so you can feel good in 30 minutes, you know. So that mind-body connection is one we cannot ignore. Matter of fact, we see a lot of people who try to break addictions, they go into exercise because they need to feel physiologically different. They need a physiological high because they've been conditioned to get the physiological high with cigarettes, with marijuana, with uppers, with downers, with alcohol, with sex, you know. So we try to give them something else to feel the same high.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I was reading that a lot of addiction, it's not necessarily that people want to keep on getting high. It's that people don't want to cope with the downer or the depression that comes after it. So that's why they keep chasing that high. So you're so spot on with exercise, you know, replacing that bad addiction with a good addiction.
It's the trigger. It's not the response. I mean, we all have a response to stress. It's the trigger. Why do we go get that cookie at 1 o'clock during the middle of the day? We're stressed.
Can you please tell us that reason? Why do we get that cookie at 1 o'clock?
We want something to make us feel better. We've paired that cookie with something we can control to make us happy, right? A Snicker bar makes us happy now. You can control it. You can't control what your boss is saying or what your money's looking like right now, but you can control that Snicker bar. So the same thing when it comes to addiction. We look at the trigger. What's the trigger? How are you feeling? What happened before you wanted to go to the bar? Before you wanted to do the upper? Before you wanted to do a line of cocaine? What is going? We don't. Before you if we're talking about full blown, sex addiction,
Mm-hmm.
even though that's controversial, before you go and do something destructive to your relationship or even to yourself, what was going on? And if we can identify that trigger and replace it with a healthy response, then we get the same reaction. And so that's the key, lowering the stress and giving them a better coping tool.
I love that. I was on a TV show on A&E. I was a trainer, and one of my clients that I got paired with, he was the heaviest client on the show. He was about, I think, almost 500 pounds.
Wow.
And out of all of us, halfway through the show, he ended up quitting. And, a lot of people were very disappointed in him and upset. And initially I was, but afterwards I told the executive producer, I said, I really think that I did a disservice and we did a disservice to him. And by that, I mean not providing a psychologist on the show, because you don't get to that size without having some emotional or mental trauma or something going on, and he was using food to cope. So not that I wasn't a good trainer,
Right.
but I could only take him so far. As soon as he got down, I think it was like 50 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
he slowly started returning to eating. And it's just like, why? And I think it scared him. I think he was comfortable where he was, and he probably was coping with food. So do you ever coach people if you ever treat people that afterwards they end up losing a bunch of weight because you've healed their emotional trauma?
Well, hold on, Fallon. You brought up a lot. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on there. So think about clients who drink, and then you try to get them not to drink. Well, you're taking away my coping mechanism. My life sucks. When I drink, I'm happy. You trying to take away my drink? Oh, they'll fight you. It's the only thing I look forward to. That's the only thing I look forward to. If you don't give them another coping tool, you actually made it worse, because now they have to deal with their pain with nothing to help them cope, even though it's destructive. So same thing with food. So say we take away his food and food makes him happy. Yeah, I lost 50 pounds, but now I'm more unhappy than ever.
So unhappy.
So I have to find relationships. I have to find community. I have to find validation. I have to find excitement. I have to find comfort in something else other than food. So we have to replace the food with something else just as good or better. And then sometimes, Fallon, let's just say this is someone who put on weight to get away from a problem. And now he's losing weight. He's having to face that problem again. Say he had sexual trauma. Well, if I keep going at this rate, I'm back to my original problem as to why I put weight on in the first place. But I see a lot of couples. Fallon, where I see couples have a lot of issues, because we do assessments for people that have the bariatric surgery, and so on and so forth.
Oh, I love that. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. So when they come into a psychologist, I don't specialize in this work, but people will come in, they have to get an assessment they ask for, and you qualify you to do it. But it causes relationship issues, because we used to go eat together. So we used to eat French fries and chicken wings, and then we used to eat a Snicker bar and a milkshake, and we used to have a good time, didn't we? And now you want to go vegan. Now you want to go vegan, and you're not fun anymore. You're not fun. You're judging me. You're looking better than me. All this stuff comes up. Go ahead, Fallon.
So it's so funny you say that. Sorry to jump in, but
no, let's do it.
I went vegan and for my health, and my husband went vegan with me.
Okay.
And I was like, are you sure? Because I was thinking in my head, there's no way I'm going to be cooking you bacon and I can't eat any. But I want to be supportive. I want to do this with you. And I'll tell you, we've been vegan for, I think, 9 months now.
Okay.
And to have a partner who supports me, who got healthy with me, even he's healthier now. He's no longer pre-diabetic, doesn't have high cholesterol.
That's a smart man. He who findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
But what you're saying, there's no way I would have been able to do this without him. I couldn't go to Dairy Queen runs with him and not eat any. So I love that you say how it can affect your relationship.
It's about support. My wife is pescatarian. All right. So that means that she does not cook. Now, I've recently gotten her to cook chicken every now and then because I need a cheat meal. So you talk about it. It's thought about it. So talking about onboarding. A lot of people fail with changing their diet because they don't onboard. They try to do it too drastically. And so I said, all right, if you could phase it out, if we could have pescatarian days, and now we have vegan days.
Good.
Now, Fallon,
Smart woman.
I can go vegan for weeks.
Yes.
It's now part of my daily life. So I can choose how I want to do it, but I'll be honest, my motivation is weight. So if my weight gets above a certain point, no, I'm going vegan. I can't, it's almost summer. We coming out of quarantine. When you see me, you're going to be like, that man been in the gym. I can't waste all that. I didn't work too hard to go back to the meat, so I'll probably be vegan. So, but when you have a partner that supports that, I tell you what she did though. She gradually tricked me. So she started with replacing rice with cauliflower. All right, and put it on my plate. And I said, this is good, but it doesn't taste the same. What is this? She says, oh, it's just something new. And then later she tells me it was cauliflower. Yeah. Well, I've already liked it now. And I think like most people, they think going vegan, they associate going vegan with eating grass, eating nasty stuff, taking away their happiness. So if it tastes good, you can replace it. It's to replace it. So now I found so many, and you can give me more, so many vegan meals, even some that are frozen that are so good, I don't even miss other things I used to eat that were unhealthy.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Okay, so I guess tell me, what do you do if you're in a relationship where they're not supportive of you going to the gym, you losing weight? I've coached women who they would lose weight, have issues with their husbands because they are, and I think sometimes husbands will say, well, I liked you thick and how you were, which I can understand. But I think, there's more to the story than I just like you thick, maybe some insecurity issues. But how do you handle a relationship like that if you're alone in the process of trying to get healthy?
Well, you know what? I'm laughing inside because I was trying not to go there, but I'm going to go there anyway. A lot, because I see a lot of women. It has to be fair, right? So a man will say, I like you thick. I'm a black man. So, when you like you thick, but then does the woman get to say what she likes? We see a lot of time where the man has standards for the husband, but the husband's out of shape. The husband does not look like Michael B. Jordan. He did not look like Michael B. Jordan. He does not. He's like Fat Albert, but yet he's dictating. And so what I give women validation to do is, if we're talking about what we like, do I have permission, safe permission, to be able to talk about what I like? You'd be surprised how many husbands respond. Now, they're upset because they're big mad. Their feelings are big mad. But once the woman says, this is what I like, this is what's attractive to me, you'll find a lot of husbands that will join because the wife has never used her voice. There's kind of this toxic thing, especially in church, that a wife's supposed to be quiet.
Yeah.
No, if you can't have a good relationship, you quiet, you just be going through the motions. You're not going to be feeling like he's Michael B. Jordan. He's not going to get that excitement. It's just going to be whatever, So that's the first thing. The second thing is, tell your husband how you feel. All right. So we care about how you feel. You're not going to be able to out hard a man. A woman's power is in her softness, not her meekness, her softness. So direct, but soft, So it's like, baby, I feel healthier. I feel happier. I feel more attractive. I want to be intimate when I feel. I love my body. I'm also concerned about the early passing of my mom and grandma. And I want to live for a long time. Or just to be honest, when I've worked a long time. When I retire, I want to be fit. I want to be on the beach. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. I don't want to have knee replacement and hip replacement. And I don't want you to either. I don't want to wheel you around with oxygen. Yeah. And we didn't work all this time to retire. So, babe, this is not just me doing something for my body superficially, even though I do like the way I look. And you like the way I look too. Let's be real, But I want to be healthier. I want a healthier lifestyle. And if you can support me with that, I will be appreciative. Bam, you say that. Now, some husbands still not going to do it. Let's just be honest. I live in the world of reality. Here's what you have to do. Get yourself an accountability group who supports you. Get yourself an accountability group who supports you. And then that becomes your accountability group. They support you. So someone like you, Fallon, is saying, come in, girl, you look good. Let's go for it. Your body mass index is looking good. Your PMI is looking good. You're adding years to your life. The
Yeah.
doctor is saying, what are you doing? Your blood pressure looking good.
Yeah.
You like the attention of guys looking at you. You don't have to look back, but everyone likes to be seen. Take all that energy home. You know what I'm saying? So get yourself an accountability group versus putting pressure on your husband who may not be ready to make that change.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I have a girlfriend who recently wrote a post and she got some backlash on it. And she said that, you know, if a man doesn't have a morning routine, if he's not going to the gym, if he's not eating healthy, you know, then that I can't mess with it. I can't date him. And she got some backlash for it, but I kind of gave her props because I'm like, you know, that's the life that you live. You want to live a healthy life. You want a structured life. So why should you lower your standards? And I think she got backlash because she's a woman. But when a man says, these are my standards, it's not a problem.
Right. Well, she got backlash from the wrong guys. Because guys want that. I want that. That make two is better than one. They get better return for their labor. That's in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 4:9. All right. So if I'm trying to go at life, right, and my wife is waking up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., she's like, babe, you trying to get it? I'm trying to get it. I'm trying. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
See, not everyone is in a growth mindset. Not everyone has a growth mindset. So anyone that knows me, I'm always trying to learn something new.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to be challenged. So if I have a partner who's challenging me, if I'm in the bed and I'm like, I'm tired, oh man, I don't feel like working out. She's like, well, I'm going to go work out. You know, you can lay in the bed if you want to, you know. You're not gonna outdo me. All right, I'm up now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get up. You know, because you could be, you know, you can be mentally tired and you can be physically tired, but that doesn't mean your cardiovascular system is tired. I've learned I can get on treadmill tired midway in. You know, I'm running like I'm in the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so and that's good for your intimacy as well. I'm just keeping it real. As we get older, when men hit late 30s, early 40, you better do something to boost that testosterone. Your woman, your wife's sex drive is high because, you know, ours gets lower as we get older.
Yeah,
hers gets higher. Hey, you better. Hey, I can't have my wife watching Alexa commercials with Michael B. Jordan all night. I can't have her watching Power with Ghosts. Oh no. I'm gonna be ready.
That is hilarious. I read a book recently called The Body Keeps Score, and it's about trauma and how it stays in your body. And it fascinated me. Have you heard or read about that book?
Yes, I have not read the book, but I know the concept.
Yeah, and kind of what we were speaking to earlier, how trauma can affect weight gain. I've been to therapy before. How do you know when you're fully healed? That when that trauma is gone, like I'm active, I'm functional, I go to the gym, what is a sign that you're fully healed? Or do you always need therapy if you've had trauma?
I think you don't always need therapy. I think it's good for us to always have coaching. You know, so we'll get coached. Like I'll get a fitness coach. I could be fit, but I could be fitter.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I can maintain this level of fitness up into my 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, right? And so you can help me with that because, you know, it gets harder. So with trauma, no, there definitely can be an end point. I think the key is, and any good psychologist will do this, they'll ask you, envision wellness for yourself. Envision yourself being well. So I ask clients, we know therapy is working when what happens? And I point them in the direction of being very specific. So when I'm not anxious, when I go out, when I can sleep without having nightmares, when I don't have tightness in my shoulders, or when I don't have gut issues every time I get nervous, or I don't sweat, or if we're talking about sexual trauma, where I don't tense up when I'm intimate with my husband. You see what I'm saying? Or I can sleep with the lights off. So we set those goals and we move towards those things so that we're always looking towards empowerment. Therapy, there is a piece of it is processing, but it's also symptom reducing. The whole goal is like you go to a medical doctor. When you tell them your knee hurts, you don't want them to ask just how your knee feels. You want them to fix it. So same thing when we talk about psychology. So I think it's a journey for each person. But here's a visual I heard, his name is Dr. Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're familiar with, he talks about pain bodies,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when you can see that pain body begin to dissolve, that's when you know you're healed. So a good example is if you have active pain, you'll lead with it. Fallon, have you ever met someone and you talk to them within 5 to 7 minutes and they're telling you about their pain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they lead with their pain. So I am pain. Let me tell you about my pain. That's the only thing interesting about me, or that's the area that I need to talk about first. So not to be long-winded, once they start replacing that with something else and they can kind of visualize what happened to them, like a hot air balloon way up in the sky versus in the car with them or in their daily conversation, that's how you know people are getting well. They can talk about it without them affecting it. And then there's a decreased need to talk about it. It's what happened to you. It's not who you are. Pain happened to you, but you are not pain.
Yes, I love that. I want to talk about the opposite end of, you were saying sometimes we cope with pain and we have to find something to replace it, but coping with it is how we handle the pain. I want to talk about, I guess, the extreme end of it. So like, for instance, I've coached women who are bodybuilders,
Okay.
and they almost have like body dysmorphia.
Mm-hmm.
They see themselves as fat, but they're not. But because they're not how they were on the stage, they're not 0.7% fat or whatever, or 7% fat. How do you handle or deal with that? Because it looks like it's a healthy relationship. They're going to the gym every day. They're counting their macros. They don't smoke. They're not drinking. But to me, it's almost like obsessive, which is almost as bad as turning to food for the pain.
Right. So different responses to pain. And so this is something I can speak to because my wife is a former fitness competitor. Oh, Fallon, the beef we had during that time,
By the
I
way,
could tell. Oh my, I appreciate. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. I felt like I was married to Kobe. I was like, jeez, oh my goodness. But yeah, and then, I had to step my game up. I had to figure out what's going on with you,
Yeah.
But when we start looking at bodybuilding, we have to kind of get to the reasons why you're doing it. So that there are many people who do it for different reasons. Now, a lot of people do it because to be competition ready, and you're competing. They have this type A, I'm going to win, and you had better be obsessed with your body because you're going against other people and you're trying to win. So part of it is normal. Part of it is competition. But the part that I think is problematic is how do you turn that off when it's not competition season? How do you deprogram? How do you undo? How do you unplug from that locked in zone athlete mentality? You've been doing this for sometimes it takes a year, 9 months to get competition ready.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could tell me.
Mm-hmm.
How do you turn that off after the competition is over? So part of it is helping them to turn that off. And the other part is figuring out what becomes addictive. All right. So you can be addicted to perfection. So are we talking about control issues? Is there something in your life you're trying to control? I can control my body. I may not be able to control what's going on at work, my son, my daughter, my relationship, my thoughts, my pain, but I can control these muscles getting bigger. I can control these, trapezius muscles or whatever they call. I can control getting those bigger. And so a lot of times you see people where, again, you're taking away the coping. So if you balance that off with therapy, then working out just becomes something that's healthy. And then you can compete, unplug and then kind of re-engage. Because a lot of people, I believe, they compete, then they relax. They never kind of totally lose it because it's too hard to come back. And then they kind of work themselves back in, if that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, how do you, I guess, handle clients who have eating disorders? I know I've worked with some clients and I'll often refer them out. I'm like, okay, you need to see a psychologist because, it's a slippery slope. I guess how does one heal from eating disorders? Is it the same way what you're saying with food addiction in terms of, dealing with the pain, or is there a different way that you have to cope with those type of clients?
I mean, one, so anyone that's dealing with an eating disorder, I would definitely refer them to someone who specializes in eating disorders. Now,
Mm.
as a clinical psychologist, we treat everything. However, all psychologists, all doctors are not created equally, right? And so there's psychologists that only do eating disorders, only do body dysphoria, only do that. And so I would even refer them out. But when we start talking about the science behind it, again, there's a connection between the brain, in eating. You're looking at triggers, you're looking at trauma, but then there's a whole program that goes along with treating someone with an eating disorder. So if you can get them into counseling with a structured program, figure out what is going on, be able to address the emotional component with a 360-degree component to it, you'd be surprised how many people can get well. They don't have to suffer. And that's why I'm so public with psychology, and I'm an advocate for my colleagues. And so it's saying that we just don't know that this can be treated. We just think that we overeat, or we undereat, or we binge eat, or to feel better, and we cope, right? Because it works well enough until our system starts to let us down. So I would just encourage anyone watching this right now, just contact your primary care physician, ask for a specialist when it comes to eating disorders. Oftentimes, it is very connected to emotions, but you still need a system. Same way when it comes to working out. I can work out, but if I get a trainer, you can tell me what I'm doing well. You can tell me what to isolate. You can do the muscle confusion, and I'm talking terms I've heard, okay? All right. So I'm saying that then you can help me get the results a lot faster. It's not the fact that I'm not working out enough. I may not be doing it the right way.
Yeah, definitely understand that.
You gaining the client already.
I'm sure your wife probably trains you already.
Oh, no. She gets up. We part of the early morning crew, but that's more beef. I know what I'm doing, girl. You do it your way. I'm gonna do it my way.
My husband, he won't let me train him.
Right. No.
Get away from me.
No. And I think, and the funny thing is, you asked about it. And I'm gonna tell on her, we have totally different mindsets when it comes to training, right? So because I see people every day, my training, I'm quiet. It's serene. I'm in my mind. Listen, this girl listening to every ratchet song in the world. She turned up. I was like, you're killing my vibe. You're killing my vibe. I need to focus. I'm trying to isolate. I'm trying to meditate. I'm trying to be at peace.
Yeah.
You over here, and I get it. You need that fast beat for the cardio, but you're killing my vibe. So we don't work out. We never work out in the same room at the same time. That's an automatic fight.
That is funny. When I was saying I coach kids earlier, I use a different program for them when it comes to journaling their food. I do a light system. We don't count calories. We just categorize food as green lights, yellow lights, red lights. Greens are healthy foods, your vegetables, your fruits. Yellow lights are good carbs, your brown rice, your quinoa. Red lights, I don't let my children call them bad food, because that's going to make them have shame when they eat those foods. So I give them a red light limit, but I allow them to eat those red light foods. And what I find interesting is when I have adult clients use that method, they struggle so much because they're not counting calories and macros, and they become so obsessive about every little thing when they're trying to see results. But it's just interesting that, like you were just saying, your wife has a different mechanism to you. You to me seem like my kids, like you're zen, you're you don't think that much into it. But then I have my adults who are like type A that need to know. They can't just eat green lights and not count the calories or the macros.
And I'm gonna tell myself I'm a Pisces, so it depends on the day.
Oh, I'm a Pisces too.
Oh, so you understand. So it depends on the way the tide is going. There'll be other days where I've been there on some David Goggins type stuff. You know who he is, the Army guy. So I'm on some different. But other days I'll meditate. And I'll be relaxed. But you have to do what works for you. And I'll tell you this. I am very much reactive. So I'm goal focused. So if I have a goal, I have 2 workout accountability partners, and we're going to see who looks best. I think we have 30 or 60 days. So competition drives me. I'll be honest, Fallon, I I don't like pushing up the weight a lot of time. It's boring. It's boring. But when I think about them beating me, I'm like, okay, I do not lose. I do not lose. I do not lose at anything. So it motivates me. So that's competition. For other people, it wouldn't motivate them. And the other times I told you, when I hit the scale and it doesn't say the number that I want, oh, I don't need any discipline. I don't need any discipline. I will get to that number.
You're like,
So
it's on.
it's on. So I guess I'm one of those gamers. When the pressure is on, I am locked in and I am stimulated. And there are other people who are more consistent. You know, it's kind of like cram for a term paper. I'm one of those people that's up the night before, but I'm gonna make an A. And there are other people that would do a little bit. So you have to find a little bit each day. You have to find your style that works for you. It's no two paths are the same.
Yeah. I love that you talked about community earlier, and how important it is to heal from any trauma. And I find in, with losing weight, I had one client who turned to food, and he told me, now that I've been working out and losing weight, I haven't been hanging out with my friends. I lost my community. I feel so isolated and alone. And I explained to him, this is a great time, for one, to try to introduce them. If they're your good friends, hopefully they'll want to join it and with you. And if not, you may have to find a different community. Do you find that,
Yeah.
that some people feel isolated when they heal from their traumas,
Yeah.
that they lose their communities?
Yes. If you want me to keep it real, so think about going to a bar. All right. So we go to a bar. We've had a rough day. We're sitting around each other and I'm talking about my problems, right? And I'm saying, oh man, I hate my boss. They tripping. They won't give me this, won't give me that. Well, a drinking buddy joins in with you. I know, man, the world is awful, man. You can't get anywhere in this world. They keep a brother down. And so I need that. That's right. That's because I need that connection, right? I need that. What I don't want is someone to say, well, have you tried maybe some executive coaching to see if you and your boss can I don't want to hear that when I'm drinking.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. I want misery loves company.
Misery loves company.
So what happens is if I have a peer group that's connected around misery, or in this case, connected around unhealthy food, we go out and we eat barbecue and we nothing's wrong with fishing, but we fish and we eat barbecue and we drink a couple beers and we watch the game. Well, I can't do those things anymore if I'm being fit. Now I can go fishing, but I can't do a whole 6-pack of beers. You know how many calories that is? And I can't work out. I can't. And then Fallon gonna hit me with one of those HIIT workouts. I'm gonna throw up. No, I can't. No, I can't do that. And so what happens is you start losing your buddies because they're not in the same space. So this is where when you go to the next level, sometimes you have to bring people with you, or you have to, like you said, add to your support network. And you mentioned it earlier, Fallon, this happens in couples, right? So when your spouse is unsupportive, fat is a negative. It is mandatory for your spouse to at least be supportive. They don't have to take the same journey, but they do have to support you. But what happens, Fallon, if I can I keep it real? Because we're superficial by nature, people start commenting on how much of a mismatch you are. How he get hurt? She fine, big. And she's getting his attention. You're not getting this attention. You see guys looking at her. Women are not looking at you. It is something that a man really has to check his ego, really has to check his own insecurities and say, you know what? I should be proud to have a wife. You have a problem people not looking at your wife. You know what I'm saying? They're not looking at her. She's not fine. All right. So you need to be okay with that, and you need to level up. Same thing with finances. If your wife is doing well, you need to level your own finances up to where you can be secure with that versus feeling like you have to attack her growth. And last thing is sit down and talk with your friends. A lot of men need an awakening. They need an awakening. I was talking to someone. He was an avid. You talking about someone, a health guru? All right. He was talking. And I said, man, you're going too far. You're going too far. He was like, man, I do these wheatgrass shots, man. I tasted. I said, I will never in my life drink this stuff. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And he asked me how old I was. He told me how old he was. He's 7 years older than me. He looked younger. And he says, Alvin, you're going to find that when you get older, you're going to have to do more extreme things to maintain the same level of fitness. And he asked me, how old is your youngest daughter? I said, she's 4. He said, do you want to be here? Do you want to be here for her to have grandkids? Have you done the math? I mean, her to be a granddad. I did the math and I realized, oh my God, I'm gonna have to be fit at 80. You know, just go to high school graduation of my granddaughter, I'm gonna have to be alive. I
Yeah.
do the wheatgrass shots now.
I was gonna say you're drinking.
Hey, it ain't that nasty. You know, your palate changes after about 7 days anyway. It's not even
If you
nasty.
throw back those tequila shots, you could throw back some.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Oh,
So
I
when
love
you
that.
change the perspective and say, bro, I'm trying to be here and I need you to join me. I miss our friendship. If you could at least come to the gym with me, I can go watch the game, but just don't make me drink.
Yes.
That's it.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Just don't give me the chili cheese fries. Let me have my little zucchini strips and my little vegan meal. I'll be good.
Yeah, oftentimes when I go out, I try not to drink much. I do drink once in a while, but I'll just ask for what do they call it? It's like a fake martini. It's like a bunch of juice.
A mocktail.
Mocktail. Just so people won't bother me. It's not so much that I need to feel like I have something that I'm drinking, but I find that people would be like, no, just have a drink. Why aren't you drinking? Have a drink, you know?
They get offended.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't want to keep on, you know.
I get it. It's part of that social norm. I don't drink at all. I gave it up. I gave it years ago just because I need to have better health. All right. And, it makes me crazy. Okay. Just be honest, thoughts in my head. I was like, I don't need that. I'm not 12 anymore. I'm a grown man. All right. So, but when I hung out with my friends, the same pressure to say, you're not drinking. How many times are they at? You're not drinking. They might ask you 40 times. So this is what I did, Fallon. It was dumb. I'll never do it again. I'll order Red Bull. All right. But you finished a Red Bull pretty quickly, and you talking about you being in the club for 3 hours. I might have had 4 Red Bulls just because I got bored. Listen, we left at like 2:30 in the morning. I was like, where we going next? I'm hyped. I'm ready. Why y'all sleepy? No, y'all got me out. We going someplace else. They're like, bro, something's wrong with you. I was in the bed dance. I still heard this. I would never drink energy drink, but I had to substitute.
Yeah.
That was my first time out after giving up alcohol. I had to find something to substitute. So now I do the same thing, but I go all the way in with the mocktails. I was like, I need some ginger in there. I need some
ginger. Oh yeah.
I had a turmeric in my pocket. I'm staying healthy. I don't care what you say.
Oh, I love that.
You have V8. It looked like a drink. I'm with it.
Oh, I love that. You guys watching, if you haven't noticed, he is talking a lot about relationships, and that's because Dr. Tartt is also a marriage counselor. So can you tell me more about what you're doing? I know you have a lot going on around healthy marriages and even marriage retreats.
Right. So first thing we do is have a marriage class. So this is for people who want a dope marriage, because there are a lot of people who are married and they don't want to just be married. They want to thrive at marriage. Family, you're married. You know how it sucks when it's not working out. Don't say anything. I don't want to get you in trouble. We all can raise our hand. That's the reality of marriage. Is their ups and downs. But there are things you can do, there are tools you can get to be able to have a dope marriage. So we start talking about growing. So how do you grow fitness-wise? How do you grow financially? How do you grow when it's talking about expanding your family and the things that you want for a family? So we start talking about being on the next level of growth. You have to be on the same page. So we do a class called Better Husband, Better Wife. All right, betterhusbandbetterwife.com is the website where we do a monthly enrichment class, training class for couples who simply want to go to the next level. And that is on, I think, every second Thursday. So check that out at betterhusbandbetterwife.com. But we also have a dope marriage retreat. It's called A Weekend for Love, aweekendforlove.com. All right. So we have some business partners and they're in the event space. So they do all of the events for celebrities. All right. And so we partner with them. And so, of course, I'm going to give you the tools and then they give you the experience. And we curate like 6 dates for you over 3 days with other couples coming in. I think we had 23 couples coming in from 23 different states, all coming to Destin, Florida this year. I think it's August 27th through 29th. Check out A Weekend for Love so you can be part of a community. You know how you're part of a fit community? Come on down. Yeah, and so you're there with other people who are there to grow. So I'm going to give you the skills. I'm going to give you the skills. I'm going to talk about that. But the rest of the evening is having fun. It's talking about how to grow together, how to do entrepreneurship together, how to take your intimacy to the next level. We have a signature event called the Nightcap. It is on fire. It is on fire because if you're not growing, even intimacy wise, it's getting boring. So we talk about how to keep it spicy inside of the marriage. And then we have a vow renewal on Sunday that is really top of the line and brings couples together. So we're all about supporting marriage.
And I love that you don't leave the singles out either, because don't you have something called the ring formula?
I'm 365 degrees about relationships. And so the best way to get in it is to help people who are single get into healthy relationships that lead toward commitment and marriage. So for single women, my wife and I do something together called the Ring Formula. So check out ringformula.com. And what it does is it coaches women to not to settle and to deal with the reality of being single now, but how to actually allow good men to chase them, court them, and negotiate social media, DMs, the new way of dating, because the reality is men are looking to settle down. Not all men, but there are men who are looking to settle down, and there's a certain way to date modern day that works for both. And so I like to help people to move towards healthy relationships, commitment, and marriage.
I love that. And you're also a minister too, right?
I am. And so a lot of people, it's funny because my boys that know me, they say, he's a minister. Oh my God, But I tell people, because I've been a psychologist 21 years, I've been a minister for 3. I did everything under the sun before I went into ministry. So I don't miss it. I ain't already done that. I ain't already been there, All right, that is not great. And so I got into the ministry because I felt that there was a huge need for psychology within the church. Talking about, I train a lot of pastors. I train a lot of pastors and a lot of ministers on how to do marriage counseling. Why? That's where we go. We go to the hairdresser, believe it or not, to get relationship advice. We go to the minister. Unfortunately, emergency personnel. I can't tell you how many firefighters and police end up counseling people on the fly. A lot of it's reactive.
I even call myself a counselor.
You are. Because people trust you. They see you weekly. They're consistent, and you know what's going on with their life because you can say, hey, what's going on with you today? You don't seem like your normal self. Man, this is what happened at work. So you are. You can claim that. You can absolutely claim that because, and you have to know how to push buttons. Yep. So it helps with motivation. It helps you to know when to be compassionate, helps you to know when to refer out. I get a lot of referrals from trainers when they realize, okay, this is a lot. This is beyond, the typical training. So, so the ministry piece is a lot of marriage ministry and helping people to find purpose in what they're doing. So I don't push my faith on anyone. I have clients of the whole gamut, different orientations, different interfaith. It doesn't matter. I meet you where you are and take you to where you want to go. And I love it. It's fun. But you're not going to see me preaching and coughing and wiping my face. That's not my style. That's not my style. You're more likely to laugh and learn. That's more my style.
Oh, I love that. Last question. I know that you do consulting for professional teams like the NBA. How do you consult differently with professional athletes? How do you push them to be their best on the field or on the court? That interests me so much because kind of like I was saying earlier, I wish on the TV show that we had a psychologist for our clients. So I love that these professional teams are finding it so important to bring people like you in.
Right. So I work primarily with the NBA. So I'm going to brag on the NBA. All right. So we would top number one with the first one comes out. Every team has a team psychologist. In addition to that, every team has an NBA assigned psychologist because some players don't trust the team psychologist. All right. Not saying they shouldn't, but depending on the organization, if I tell you I'm having a drinking problem, are you still going to give me that $200 million? I'd rather not chance it. Sometimes they want to go in-house. Sometimes they want to go NBA. And then there's a third layer where they're just affiliated with the NBA, but not employed by the NBA. Yeah. All right. So when it comes to working with athletes, the main thing is to treat them like a human being. So if I'm working with him or her, we rarely, you'd be surprised, Fallon, we rarely talk about what's going on in the court. And you know what? And coaches like that too. They like me because I'm not doing the work of a player development coach. So there are a lot of player development coaches that know sports psychology. All right. And so what I do is I talk to the person. So I'm usually talking about marriage issues. I'm talking about anxiety. I had an athlete call me the other day, and he's way down on the depth chart in football. He is losing it, and the season is starting. It's all about anxiety. It's all about, because he just has a difficulty communicating with his coach, right? He gets anxious when he can play, but when he talks, and so he's not calling out the plays. And you can see how that's becoming a problem. So we're talking through exposure therapy, helping him to relax, helping him to meditate, helping him to have micro conversations. Hey, coach, what you need me to do? Really quick ones. So when we start talking to athletes, you meet them where they are. But a lot of times what they want is they want you to be able to help see them as a human being, not as the brand. So I was formerly with the Oklahoma City Thunder before, I'm with the NBA, and they just wanted to be seen for who they were. Everywhere they go, people, hey, so-and-so, hey, so-and-so, they want to be able to come someplace and just be able to talk about what's going on in their life. And the biggest thing that I see, Fallon, they want to talk about everything but basketball. The biggest thing that I see is when, did you see what happened with Paul Pierce? Paul Pierce is a basketball player.
Yes.
And I'm very okay. I didn't know. I didn't know how much. I didn't know how much.
And I used to intern for the Celtics because I.
All right. So I'm gonna treat this gingerly. Yeah. So I guess I ain't mean to insult you. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I didn't mean to be disrespectful. You're from Boston, of course. You know about the Celtics. All right. So Jaylen Brown is from Atlanta. All right, that's Jaylen Brown's one of my guys that he's not my client. So, but in RTP and I had all the Boston Celtics team, so I know the whole squad. So when it comes down to it, what I empathize with is people don't understand how difficult it is to find the same level of thrill and joy after retiring from the NBA.
Oh my goodness!
So you start talking about this is the truth.
Years.
You're talking about the truth. Paul Pierce is the truth. That's his name. This is big shot Paul Pierce. And I hated to see him fall apart, on social media, but I got it. What replaces that thrill? People say, oh, he's an analyst. He don't want to be an analyst only. He wants to be the people the analysts are talking about. Yeah. And so I know that he has support around him. He's going to have to find the next thing that brings him thrill. But that's he even said it in the video. I wish I could take you behind the life of what it's like to be a retired athlete.
TV show, producers.
Man, if that was my client, well, I would have been on there. I would have been blowing up his phone. Shut this down right now. We need to talk. But the reason I said that is that's why athletes do it, so that they don't act out. That's kind of a very male way to act out, is it not? It's a very male way, macho way to act out. And so what I public about is like, man, you deserve to have your feelings heard in the privacy where it's not going to get out. You're not a robot. You're not a cyborg. You're not a machine. You have feelings and emotions, and you're dealing with something that men and women deal with later, especially men, because our work is our identity. You can get a woman in the room, say, what does she do for a living? I don't know, but I know her husband. They're going through problems. They know, y'all know all the tea, but we'll get in the room and be like, I didn't know he was married, but I know he's an IT consultant. So because if our work is not strong and we feel like the core of who we are is not strong, and Paul Pierce is 30 something and he's on the downside of his career. So where do you go making that millions and everyone knows you? And so now you're an analyst, and now a former analyst. That's what we usually deal with at 65, trying to figure out, well, who am I if I'm not a doctor? Who am I if I'm not the manager at work where I have work family? I'm home and I'm not needed. I'm forgotten about. They forget about you. And so, my heart goes out to Paul Pierce, but this is also a bad call for any man, any woman that's going through the same thing, to be able to talk about your emotions and give yourself permission to say, hey, this next phase of my life is tough. No one likes to lose respect, money, fame, attention, power. And he's lost all of it in his mind and in reality. So we're gonna help Paul Pierce. We're gonna get him back up. We're gonna get my man back up.
Now, do you help regular people? Can regular people, other than
regular people, everyone's a regular person,
And how can they find or get in contact with you?
Just go to my website, drtartt.com. I treat everyone the same. I don't see myself as anything special. Anyone that knows me, how you see me now is how I am. Whether I'm on set, whether I'm in a church, whether I'm in the gym and Fallon, I will call you to spot me. There's no shame in my game as a man. Look, this is on my chest. Help me get this off. Now, I'm lying. You know,
My husband.
no, I'm not gonna call you. If I'm almost getting it up, I'm gonna have you come up, you know, add a finger or so. But no, if it's on my chest, I'm not calling you. That's gonna be the shame. That's gonna be shame. But no. So I deal with people where they are. I'm very grounded because I have had an opportunity just to be in so many different worlds for over 2 decades. Mm-hmm. So it's helped me to stay grounded. And I've seen what happens when people think that they're more than what they are. That fall is so hard. It's so hard. And so I deal with whomever comes to me. I like the variety. It's all a different culture. So I enjoy it. So let's just go to drtartt.com and it's very easy to get in contact with me.
Well, this conversation was so easy. I had such a good time.
You made it easy. You asked good questions. I've had interviews where I was like, man, I'm not that interesting, you know? So it's all about the synergy. So I appreciate it.
I was all over the place. I'm like, wait, I want to ask them this. And this.
I like it. You see, we're twins. So.
We're Pisces.
That's right.
Well, hopefully maybe we can have you back on. I really appreciated this. And I know that so many people are going to hear this and hopefully learn something, and better yet, even reach out to you. I know my husband and we're going to go do one of your retreats because that sounds amazing.
Come on, have fun.
Yeah. And I'm in Atlanta too. So you're in Georgia, right?
Right. I'm in Atlanta as well.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, if any of you guys want to reach out, drtartt.com, and on social media, you're
at Dr. Tartt. So on Instagram, at DrTartt on Instagram. But I'm also on Facebook. But Instagram is where I live.
Yeah, I do too. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Next time, same place, same channel, Fit with Fallon Podcast and Health. Take care, and we'll see you soon.